And welcome to the Garden Shop How to Garden video. So in this video we're going to show you how to transplant on your tomato plants. We have our tomato plant here. Now, as you've seen earlier, we planted them into our 24 cell seed tray. We then pricked them out into our 9cm pots, and now we're into late April coming into May, and it's now time to transplant our tomato plants on into larger pots or directly into your greenhouse soil. So that's what we're going to do today. If you see down here in front of me, we have our prepared soil. So our soil has already been dug over about a month ago when we added well-rotted farmyard manure, and now I'm just going to give it another little dig over here where I'm placing the plant. So you can see here we already have one tomato plant in the ground, and now we're going to come 45 centimeters to the side of that plant and position our second tomato plant. So I'm just loosening up the soil. Okay, making a hole here, and now I'm going to remove the plant from its pot. So sometimes you can see, if I just show you the bottom of the pot here, you might be able to pick out that there's a few small roots coming through the bottom of the pot. So that would indicate that it's definitely time to transplant on your plant. Okay, and then when you're doing it, it's all about handling it really. Placing your fingers over the compost here on the front of the pot, tipping your pot upside down, and then just trying to lift the pot. Now if it doesn't lift, just give it a little squeeze, and then the plant should come out. In some cases, when it's more pot bound, it takes a little longer. So you can see a lot of roots are working their way around the compost there. So that's really perfect. Now in certain cases you can give it a little tickle like this just to push the roots out, but in this case it's not overly pot bound, so we can go straight into the soil here. So we've already added farmyard manure to our soil. Okay, there's the plant in position now. I'm just going to hold it with one hand and push the soil in around it. The important thing is the depth of your tomato plant. You really want to keep the original soil surface, the compost here, level with the existing soil surface. So therefore you're not planting your tomato plant too deeply or too shallow. Give it a nice press in then. Bring in some soil around it, and then the next thing you want to do is give it a good watering in. So when you're watering it, don't water on top of the leaves because you might damage the foliage itself. Just water around the base of the plants and let that soak in. Now we're growing our tomatoes in a greenhouse. You can of course grow your tomatoes outdoors, but you wouldn't want to transplant them out until late June. Now regarding support, there's two options really. We have here our bamboo canes with our wigwams on top, which will form a good framework for your tomato plants to grow up. Alternatively, you can use garden twine, and in this case we have a ground peg attached to the garden twine, which we can simply just push down into the ground next to our tomato plants. And over the course of the summer then, we will encourage our tomato plants to work its way around the garden twine, and that will provide the support required. And so that's it really. That's the process involved in transplanting your tomato plant. Once the flowers begin to emerge on your tomato plant, then you will begin a liquid feed of something such here as a tomato feed or any potassium based fertilizer. And it's also very important to keep your plants watered regularly. Whether they're growing indoors in a greenhouse or in a pot, you want to keep your tomato plants moist at all times. Now a good alternative to the tomato plants growing directly in the soil is something that you can see here behind us, which is the tomato grow pot. Again, this is a product available on thegardenshop.ie. So that's it really. In this video we just wanted to show you the process involved in how to transplant your tomato plants from thegardenshop.ie.